Imagine a company that invented the very technology that would one day dominate photography, yet watched the future slip through its fingers. This is the story of Kodak. Founded in 1888 by George Eastman, Kodak transformed photography from an elite hobby into a global pastime with the slogan, "You press the button, we do the rest," making cameras accessible to millions and turning snapshots into memories everyone could capture. For decades, Kodak wasn't just participating in the photography industry, it was the industry. By the mid-20th century, Kodak controlled nearly every part of the value chain. Film, cameras, chemicals, paper, processing labs, distribution, and branding. At its peak, Kodak employed more than 140,000 people worldwide and generated profit margins so high they became legendary. Entire towns depended on Kodak. Universities trained engineers specifically for Kodak. Investors saw it as untouchable. The company didn't just sell film, it sold moments, nostalgia, family history, weddings, childhoods, and legacy. And that emotional dominance made Kodak feel immortal. But immortality is dangerous. Because while Kodak was perfecting film, the world was quietly inventing something else. In 1975, inside a Kodak laboratory, engineer Stephen Sasson built the first digital camera using a CCD sensor. It weighed nearly 8 pounds, recorded black and white images at extremely low resolution, and stored them on a cassette tape. It took 23 seconds to capture a single image. By modern standards it was laughable, but conceptually it was revolutionary. Sasson showed it to executives, explaining that one day photography could be electronic, instant, and film-free. Their reaction was not excitement, it was fear. Executives asked one chilling question, but where does the film go? That question revealed everything. Kodak did not see itself as a photography company. It saw itself as a film company. And digital photography didn't fit. Instead of embracing the future, Kodak hid it. They patented digital imaging aggressively, not to dominate the market, but to control and delay it. Internally, innovation teams were discouraged from pushing digital too hard. Budgets favored film. Bonuses rewarded film performance. The organization was structurally designed to resist change. As the 1980s and 90s arrived, digital technology improved rapidly. Sensors became cheaper. Storage improved. Processing power exploded. Sony launched consumer digital cameras. Canon and Nikon followed. Silicon Valley began merging imaging with computing. Kodak noticed, but still hesitated. Leadership believed digital would remain niche, that quality would never match film, that consumers loved physical photos too much to abandon them. And in the short term, they were right. Film still sold. Profits still flowed. The problem was time. Kodak optimized for quarterly success while the world optimized for exponential change. By the late 1990s, warning signs were everywhere. Younger consumers printed fewer photos. Photo labs declined. Digital adoption accelerated. Kodak tried to respond, but every move was conflicted. They launched digital cameras but priced them poorly. They entered printers but faced razor-thin margins. They created online photo platforms but lacked software DNA. Every initiative was dragged down by a company culture built for chemicals, manufacturing, and distribution, not electronics, ecosystems, or data. Internally, Kodak was fighting itself. Film executives resisted digital teams. Legacy infrastructure consumed cash. Layoffs began. Morale dropped. Vision blurred. Then came the final disruption: smartphones. When Apple launched the iPhone, photography stopped being a product and became a feature. Cameras were no longer bought, they were included. Photos were no longer printed, they were shared. Instagram, Facebook, and cloud storage changed the meaning of images forever. Photography became instant, social, and infinite. Kodak had no ecosystem, no platform, no software moat. Its competitive advantages evaporated almost overnight. Revenues collapsed. Between 2000 and 2012, Kodak lost billions. Desperate, the company sold patents, ironically some of the most valuable digital imaging patents on Earth, to survive. In 2012, Kodak filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection. The empire that once ruled photography was reduced to a case study. What makes Kodak's fall so powerful is that it was not caused by ignorance or lack of innovation, it was caused by fear. Kodak knew digital was coming. It invented it. But leadership chose to protect the past instead of committing to the future. This is the clearest real-world example of the innovator's dilemma. When a company's most profitable product becomes the very thing that prevents it from evolving. Kodak's incentives punished disruption. Its culture rewarded stability. Its identity was locked to a dying model. Even after bankruptcy, Kodak attempted reinvention, printing technologies, industrial materials, licensing deals, but the brand had already transformed in the public mind. Kodak no longer represented the future. It represented what happens when giants hesitate. Imagine an alternate timeline where Kodak fully embraced digital in the 1970s, invested aggressively in sensors, software, consumer electronics, and platforms. Imagine Kodak launching the first smartphone camera ecosystem, the first photo-sharing network, the first cloud-based image platform. That future was possible. The resources were there. The talent was there. The technology was there. What was missing was courage. Kodak's story mirrors Blockbuster ignoring streaming, Nokia dismissing touchscreens, and countless corporations that confused dominance with permanence. The lesson is brutal but universal. Market leaders rarely die because competitors beat them, they die because they refuse to evolve. Kodak shows how corporate success can become a psychological trap, how past victories distort future judgment, and how organizations often fail not from lack of vision, but from unwillingness to act on it. Every time you take a photo on your phone, you are living in a world Kodak helped invent but failed to claim. From darkrooms to digital pixels, from film reels to AI-enhanced images, Kodak's rise and fall is not just a business story, it's a human one. It's about fear, pride, comfort, and the cost of delay. Kodak didn't lose because it was too early or too late, it lost because it waited. And that is why its story still matters. Because in every industry today, AI, crypto, automation, biotech, there are companies holding the next digital camera in their hands, asking the same fatal question, but what happens to our current business? Kodak is the answer. A reminder that the future does not ask for permission, that innovation without commitment is meaningless, and that the most dangerous competitor is not the company across the street, but the version of yourself that is afraid to change. Kodak's legacy is not nostalgia, it is warning. A monument to brilliance constrained by fear. A lesson written in lost billions and missed decades. And a story that proves, beyond doubt, that inventing the future is not enough. You must be brave enough to abandon the past to own it.